Hello guys, welcome to technology. So today we are going to see the AWS Forage AWS certification. This is not a certification; it's basically an internship. So you can do it on your own pace. It is free, and you get a certificate from AWS if you finish the task. Okay. So today, what I'm going to do, what's the reason behind me doing this is I want everyone to know that there is like a free internship that is given by AWS through Forage to you guys. So I really want everyone to just access this and use this opportunity. Don't miss it out, and make sure you did it as soon as possible, because I don't know like the limit of this internship, like up to when this is going to be open, when they're going to close it. I don't know anything about that, and there is no information in the Google about that too, like around the internet. So you have to be very aware. I really want you guys to do it as soon as possible. So in today's video, like this video is super different from the videos we like daily actually do in daily life. I mean, the videos we do basically. So this video is a little bit odd one. So in this, I'm going to show you how to complete this task. Okay, I'm going to just help you guys in completing this internship. So in this internship, it has one task. Okay, so this task takes you like 1 to 2 hours. So it is self-paced. Okay, I completed it within 1 hour. So it is basically a bit advanced kind of task. So when I did it, I didn't understood anything. It's like crazy for me. I didn't got anything. I'm confused. So I'm just like panicked a little bit. So I don't want you guys to do that, or I don't want it to happen with you guys. So what I've done is I came up with how to do this task. I'm just going to explain you everything about the cloud and everything, all the basic stuff you have to know. I'm going to explain the task to you with you guys. Like I'm going to explain the task to you guys. I'm just going to like explain everything, and I want you guys to do it on your own. Okay, after I explained everything, I will make sure that I explained everything with you guys clearly, so that you will understand everything and you will get like a good grip on the concept, so that you will be able to do the internship, do the task, hopefully. Okay, so and after me explaining to you guys, I want you to just try out the task. Okay, so after you trying out the task, I want you to check the relevancy of the task you've done with the task, or the solution that is given by the company. Okay, the solution is also provided. Once you are done with the task, once you finished it, you will get the solution. Okay, in the internship itself, like in this AWS thing, in this website itself. Okay, you don't need to worry about anything. Even if you want it, I will give you like a description, like I will give the answer to this task in the description, so that after you did the task, you can check whether these two match or not. Whatever you've done and also whatever is given, they do match or not. Or there is like, you can do it on your own, okay, no worries, but just check for, whether you did it in the same way or not, like the relevancy and everything, okay? Okay, so yes, so today let's start. So here we have like someone called Arun. So this person is going to tell you that we have to write a mail to someone. So writing a mail is the task here, but writing a mail is not easy. You have to understand everything, all the concepts, like all the terminologies. If you have to write a mail, okay, if you have to finish the task. So there is like, if you're a beginner to this cloud concepts, cloud terminology, I think it would be like a bit difficult for you. So I'm going to just explain this so that it would be very easy for you to understand. Okay, so let me, after what you watch this is basically they're telling you, they're introducing you the task. They're just telling you, you have to do this, you have to do that. They have to write a mail, you have to complete this task. Okay, so you have to write a mail to someone, from your team about in the mail you have to explain something to the other person who is reading it. So I will show you the task right now. So if you click next here, now you will get like your task. Okay. First up, let's understand a bit more about AWS. So, if you are if you're a beginner to this, I'm going to explain this to you, all these terminologies and the services and everything, so that you will get a clear idea of what this is and how this works. So, here, before we get started, so they are just telling us AWS has myriad services for doing all kinds of things. While you don't need to be familiar with them all, outlined below are few that give you a sense of what type of services we provide and how they are built. So please read the services below and click next once you're done. It's likely that you'll need to use some of the information on the next part of the task, but you can easily navigate back and forth as required. Okay, so these are the general services. Okay, these are the basic services that you have to be aware of before you start this task. And you also have like some application executors, and you also have some availability zones. So what are this? What is going on here? Like if you're a beginner, I'm also a beginner, so it took a while for me to understand all of this. So if you're a beginner, it would be very confusing for you, it would be very hard for you. You would think, oh my god, what is happening here? What are all this? Why I have to learn about this? And even if you read this, maybe sometimes you couldn't understand what they're trying to tell you in the definition, like in the paragraph. So it would be a bit difficult for you. So I came up with like a good explanation for you guys, so that it would be very clear for you to understand what is going on here. So first you have like code pipeline. So if you click, you can just see what pipeline is and everything about this. Okay, so let's go back and I will just explain this to you here. Okay, or I've created a Word document which would be very easy for you to understand. um, and I'm just going to explain you in this document. So here we have like code pipeline. So what is code pipeline? So this is a general service which is provided by AWS. So it is a tool for automating code builds. So it's like basically automating the code builds and deployments across AWS services. So what it automates is code builds, and basically the code that we build. What is code builds is the code that we build, and also the deployments across AWS. It charges per pipeline. So if there is a pipeline, it charges per pipeline and supports blue and green deployments. So it supports both of these blue and green deployments when used with Elastic Beanstalk. So, okay, so I know that this is so confusing for you. So let me break this up for you so that it would be very easy for you. So let me start with automating code builds. So what is code builds first of all? So let me go through my browser. So and let me just quickly go to like a definition thing. What are code bells? Okay, so okay, I'm sorry. What are code bells? So these are nothing but refers to the process of compiling source code, running tests, and generating a software package that is ready for deployment. So basically, what is happening here is there's like a compiling of the source code. So whatever the code we've written, we're compiling it, we're running the tests on it, and we are generating a software package that is ready for deployment. Okay, so deployment is nothing but we are just like releasing that software, putting it out there. Okay, So this is basically automates all this process, and it deploys across the AWS services. It charges per pipeline, so it automate, like it happens automatically. We no need to work on it, and it supports blue green deployments, zero downtime updates. What are updates? Okay, what are blue green deployments? Let me show it to you. Okay. Blue green deployments is a software deployment strategy that uses two identical environments to reduce downtime and risk. So basically, as you can see here, so this is blue green deployment. So this is like a software deployment that uses two identical. So let's see how it works. So create two identical environments, one called blue and other called green. So run the current application version in the blue environment. So you have to like run it here in the blue environment and run new application version in the green environment. So here runs like a current application here, a new application, current application in the blue one, new application in the green one, for example. Test the new version in the green environment. So what you do is you have to test the green environment, you have to test the new version. So when the new version is ready, switch traffic from blue to green. So basically what you do is you run your current application in the blue one. So once there is like a new version, you run it in the like green one, right? You test something new in the green one. So when the new version is ready, you switch it from the old one to new one, right? So if there are any issues, roll back to the blue environment. So this is basically is used to reduce the downtime, the time, and also it reduces the risk, because if we have a failure in the new version, then we couldn't switch back to the like current application, right? So current application version. So basically what we are doing here is we are avoiding the risk by just putting a backup, the old one, okay, then the current application version here, so that it would be very easy for us. We are just like trying and testing here, okay. So it increases application availability and useful for production experimentation. So this is an amazing thing, right? So this is what the blue and green deployments is called. So this code pipeline can work for both of them when used with Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so what is Elastic Beanstalk? I will explain this to you guys. Okay, so I really have to prepare, like, I would have prepared some notes for you, but I have no time, so I'm really busy these days. So Amazon Elastic Beanstalk is the service that helps you to deploy and manage web applications on Amazon, like AWS. So it is automatically handle tasks like capacity provisioning and load balancing and scaling. So it does the application support. It is AWS service, um, and it's application health monitoring, resource provisioning, and environment management. So basically, it manages everything. Okay. So then what is happening here is using this Elastic Beanstalk, it supports both of this. Okay, this pipeline is used to automate the code we written, and also it deploys the code we written, and it charges per pipeline. Okay. So next one is elastic load balancing. What is elastic load balancing? So it is basically, in the name itself indicates that it is something to do with balancing, right? Something to do with equating things, distributing things equally. So it distributes incoming traffic among multiple servers. So there are different servers like EC2, Lambda, and Fargate. It uses health checks to determine which service should receive traffic. So basically, what it does is it just going to distribute things evenly. It performs this health checks. That means it checks whether the particular server should receive the traffic or not. Okay, so it charges are based on running hours and traffic volume. So for this service, the charges are based on the running hours and also the traffic volume. Okay, so this is basically used to distribute the traffic among the multiple servers. So that is what you have to remember. So RDS is a relational database service. So a managed relational database hosting solution. Okay, it is pricing is similar to EC2. Okay, so it costs which is similar to the EC2 server, and where you pay based on allocated resources. So how much resources we used here, that much we pay. Okay, for example, if we used some GB or MB or like some capacity, some amount of resources, so for the resources that we stored our data in, for that resources itself we pay. For that resources, oh my god, resources itself, it is charged. Okay, scaling requires a restart. So for this, the scaling requires a restart. So what is scaling? So what is happening here? What is restarting? So let me show you this. What is scaling requires a restart? Let's see. Okay, oh my god, this is not what we want. So, scaling in AWS, that's what we want here. So, AWS auto scaling is a service that automatically adjusts resources to meet demand changes. So, it can be used to scale Amazon EC2, which is a server, ECS, and RDS. So, these are our servers. So, this is used to basically flex, okay, flex the resources to meet demand changes. So here this scaling requires a restart. Okay, so next we have root. I know it is a little bit hard, you won't get it like that. It's basically the terminology, they are the basics, it's a beginning, so you don't need to worry about just going in deeper into the concept. It's okay if you learned the definition and what each service does and everything. Okay, no need to just dive deeper into everything. Okay, next you have like Route 53. So this is AWS domain names system, which is DNS, and domain registration service. So what is domain name system and domain registration service? Let me show it to you. Okay. So it is basically domain name service is called Amazon Route 53. I know that. It allows users to register domain names and manage their DNS records. So it is basically used to register the domain names for the people, users, and also it is used to manage the DNS records. So what is a DNS record? By translating human readable domain names into IP address, effectively acting as a phone book for the internet. So, what is DNS record? Let me quickly explain this to you. DNS is nothing but DNS is nothing but translates domain name system, which translates human readable domain names to machine readable IP address. So, for example, here we have www.amazon.com. So, it translates into 192.0.2.44. So, something like that. Okay, so this is like AWS domain name system and domain registration service. Okay, so basically, this is used to translate the name, and users register for this. And we have S3, so simple storage service, object storage for data in the cloud, and cost depends on storage amount, retrieval methods, and data transfer. So we know this, right? So basically, we store the object storage for data in the cloud. So we store like the data as an object in the cloud, right? So the cost depends on the storage amount, the amount of storage we are like using, and also the methods we are using to like retrieve that data from the cloud, and also the transfer the data, the amount of data that we are transferring. Okay, so this is simple, like the S3 simple storage service. So next we have like a application executors, ways to run applications on AWS. So here we have EC2. So EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. So these are virtual services with adjustable resources. So these are basically the virtual services, like the services that are given through, the services that are not like that are virtual, that are not like real, and that are not physical, okay, basically. So these have like adjustable resources like CPU, RAM, and storage. Chargers are based on resource usage per hour. So per hour, how much resource we use, that much they're going to charge for us. And changes require a restart. So when we change it, we have to restart. Like when we made a change, for example, we have to restart. So these are like virtual servers, okay. And Fargate. Fargate is serverless container execution for running Docker based applications. So, what is Docker based application? Let's see. What is a Docker based application? Okay. Docker based applications are built using Docker containers, which are lightweight, executable software packages. So these are basically built using Docker container. These are very lightweight, guys, and these are executable software packages. Docker is an open source platform that helps with container management. So these are basically built using Docker containers. So these are lightweight, these are like executable software packages, okay? So these are the benefits. They're scalable, standard, portable, and the cost is also they like a lot of cost saving. And the Docker tools are Docker Hub, Docker Compose, Docker Desktop, and Kubernetes. Kubernetes, I guess, because this is so hard to spell if I didn't mess it up. Kubernetes, I think that's the right pronunciation for that. Okay, so these are basically the applications that are in the Docker containers. Okay, that's it. So these are lightweight and these are executable, like the software packages that are executable. Okay. So charges are like based on CPU memory and runtime duration, offer scalability but requires manual orchestration. So if we have to like do this for ourselves, we require this manual orchestration. Okay, so we require a manual for this. I mean, we have to do it manually, okay? So we have like a Lambda serverless function execution. So here we don't need any server. Um, Application run only when triggered. HTTP request or S3 event. Charges depend on memory usage, execution time, and request count. Suitable for event driven tasks, but not for serving static content. So it is basically maybe used for like some dynamic tasks. Okay. Serverless function execution is like maybe it is used for like dynamic tasks. So that's what I'm getting here. Okay, serverless function execution is the process of running a program in response to a request and then shutting down the program after request is handled. So basically, we are using it only when we want it. So when we got a request from the client, the server basically processes the request, handles the request, and it stops working then. Okay, it gets save a lot here by using this, but it is basically used for event driven tasks. So let me show you what event driven tasks are. So I think it's didn't event driven tasks in AWS. Okay. So event driven means uses events to trigger and communicate between decoupled services and is common in modern application built with microservices. So it's basically like when there is no connection between two services. Basically, the event driven task is when something sorry about that, when two things are not connected, it is basically you know It uses events to trigger the communication between the two things that are not connected, two services that are not connected. Okay. Lightsail is simple virtual machines. So these are like easy to but easier to set up. Resources cannot be changed dynamically. So here the resources are not changed here. Instead, a new instance must be created. So we couldn't change anything here, but every time we have to create like a new instance, and charges are based on machine size. Okay. So and next we have Elastic Beanstalk, a platform as a service PaaS that integrates all these three EC2, RDS, ELB. These are basically servers to automate deployments and scaling. So what is scaling? We know what is scaling is. We know what is deployment is. Deployment is but nothing but the software. Like after we done creating the software or designing the software, we put it out there. So that is deployment. And scaling is basically the balance. Okay. And it simplifies server management and supports rolling deployments. So whatever the deployments that are happening, it supports that. And it reduces the, like, it simplifies the server management. So management that involves the server. Okay. Server management, it simplifies it, it makes it easier, and it supports the rolling deployments. So cost depends on underlying EC2, RDS, and ELB resources used. So the cost depends on these three: EC2, RDS, and ELB resources that are used. So basically, what is Elastic Beanstalk is nothing but a platform as a service. So it basically integrates the three servers, which automates the scaling and deployment. It simplifies server management and supports the rolling deployments. So whatever the deployments that are happening, it just makes sure they're happening correctly. And also the cost depends on the resources that are used among these three, each of these servers. Okay. So next, the availability zones are here. AWS allows services to be deployed across multiple availability zones, okay, for high availability and fault tolerance. So it deployed across multiple availability zones for high availability and fault tolerance. However, cost increase with the number of AZs used. So availability zones, there are a lot of multiple availability zones, and also there are high availability and fault tolerance. So why choose Elastic Beanstalk? So what is Elastic Beanstalk? We saw it here. So Elastic Beanstalk is nothing but it is used to basically, you know, simplify, like it reduces and simplifies stuff. So that's what is given here. Why we have to choose it? Because it simplifies the deployment by managing EC2, RDS in ELB together. It supports the auto scaling and rolling deployments and multiple programming languages. The cost is a combination of these three usages. So to know the exact pricing, you can use this. Okay. Like if you use certain type of the kind of service, how much does it cost? If you want to know all that details, you can use that link. Okay, that link is given for you, like given to you in the task itself. So we understood what is going on here. So again, this is the same thing which we saw, which we seen here, Elastic Beanstalk, and also here they particularly explained us about why choosing Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so now let's move on. And yeah, this is everything about these services. I've just explained you very easily, like in a more understandable terminology, because the terminology used here, it's a bit out there. Maybe it is not that easy to understand for beginner. So yes, so this is what is given here. I hope you understood this. If you have any doubts, you can comment down below. So next, let's move on to the next page. So let's see what is happening here. So next we have the task. Okay, after you understood all that, you can go back if you want to by clicking back. If you want to uh, read more about all the services and definitions that are given to you, like services like everything that are given to you, which are relevant for this task. So you receive a client email request. So this is basically client email request. So what you have to do is you have to draft an email, reply to Lily Sawyer. I'm sorry. And Sawyer, like right now, have like a brain fog. Okay, so what should we say back? Click next to find out. Okay, so this is basically an client email request. Okay, we got it from client. So let's see what she's asking us. Imagine you have to imagine yourself as solution architect at AWS. A customer has contacted you because they are having some problems with the way the web application is currently hosted. So what they are trying to tell you is, my name is Lily Sawyer, and I'm the co-founder of CTO of First Year, the online tool that makes organizing things faster. You may have seen that we have been in the news recently and been experiencing some big growth as a result. Unfortunately, this means we have been some difficulties with our website. The response times can be slow during the peak periods, and sometimes we even have server crashes when it runs out of memory. We also experience some downtime during deployments. Okay, sadly, they're experiencing some downtime during the deployments, and don't have a disaster recovery plan. Based on our current trajectory, we predict we're going to see consistent linear growth for a while. So our application is a SPA React application backed by Python and Flask with the PostgreSQL as a database. So it all runs off a single AWS EC2 instance currently. So this application is running only on this EC2 instance, and this application is SPA React application. So this is backed. So the backend is Python and the Flask. Okay, so the backend is Python and the Flask with the PostgreSQL as a database. So here we have like a PostgreSQL as a database, and this has like Python and Flask as like the mediator which connects the backend with the front end. Okay, so it's a React in the front end. Okay, it's clear. So it all runs off a single AWS EC2 instance currently. So everything is running in this single instance. Can you design an architecture for us that will elevate the problems we are experiencing? We are not on a strict budget right now, but at the same time, it's not unlimited. Okay, so basically, they're asking us to design an architecture that is useful for them to to face all that responses requests that are coming towards their server. They don't want any server crashes, so they want their application to run smoothly even if there are like a lot of requests happening at the same time. So that is what they're asking. And also when it comes to budget, they're telling you that the budget, they can afford it, but they couldn't put more into it. Okay, so that is what they're telling you. So now what you have to do is draft an email. You have to draft an email. You have to reply to Lily Sawyer. So should we say back? Click next to find out. So what, like, you are a solution architect. You have to remember that. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Now it's time for you to draft your email to Lily. Okay, let's get started on email to Lily. In the email, you need to show an architecture design and explain which part of the architecture is, why it was chosen, and how it costs are calculated, and how they may vary month to month. Remember, you don't need to give concrete numbers, just an overview. Your team has come together and decided on architecture approach outlined below. Okay, so this is what your team considers. Okay, so when deciding on the right AWS solution, your team considers these points. Your company is a startup. The company is a startup. We are lucky because we can provide more of a greenfield approach. They're more likely to able to make changes to the application stack compared to an enterprise where change can take a long time. They may end up only being able to migrate part of the system at a time. So they're basically a startup company, so we can change it, the change we can change it always, so the change is always constantly happening. Again, being a startup, it's probably easy to migrate their data into AWS, okay? And they have like a single server and already experienced downtime. So probably they're okay with some downtime during the migration and setup. Being a mixed API and web app, so it's a combination of API and web app, right? So they will need to host some static content as well, right? So second, you decide on the solution. So now, in case we will recommend a solution based on Elastic Beanstalk based on these requirements, the customer has a Python application that Elastic Beanstalk has support for. Yes, the customer will need to scale, and this is one of the fundamental features of the Elastic Beanstalk. Customer need, like, they need to scale, right? So elastic, as we learned, Elastic Beanstalk is great with scaling. And also, what the one more thing that it is great for is it balances everything like EC2 and all other servers at the same time. So how much we used is how much, we get, how much we are charged with. Okay, so they want to remove downtime when they are deploying, and Elastic Beanstalk's blue green deployment can assist with this. So Elastic Beanstalk can support blue green deployment, right? We understood what blue green deployment is clearly. Like, I explained it clearly. So yes, so they want to remove the downtime when deploying. So like the blue green deployment can assist with this, right? So the AWS Beanstalk documentation provides some more information if you want to learn more about it. So you can access it if you want to, if you want to go deeper about the concepts and everything. So if you want me to make a video on this, you can just ask me. I'll do it for you. Okay, next we have like a third, specify the services. So next, the services we will use are listed below. So these are the services. An additional availability zone for redundancy is proposed, but is not necessary. Okay, so the services are Route 53, Elastic Load Balancing, Elastic Beanstalk with automating EC2 group, RDS S3, and Core Pipeline. So fourth is evaluate. Importantly, the team recognizes the Elastic Beanstalk is not only the only product that we could recommend for this customer. AWS is an open platform and encourages creativity when building solutions. We need to be aware of the pros and cons of each solution, how they will best fit for each customer. Other options, like we have Lambda, you have like a Fargate, can be more complex to set up. Lightsail and EC2 can be easy but don't provide that automatic scaling. The customer can end up paying more because they are running virtual machines that are often not at capacity. Okay, however, each of these services can also be at its own advantages depending on the application that we build. We can provide different recommendations and discuss the options more in depth with the customer before coming up with the final design. So this is the architecture. Here is the architecture design. So this is basically the architecture, the design that our team created for Lilly. Okay. So now what you have to do is, by this is the architecture diagram. So I've just I did it already. So in this box you have to like do the solution. So I'm going to like explain the solution, but I want you to pause the video, like make a good study of everything, and I want you to come up with a solution. I want you to think about this so that no problem whether you get it right or wrong, what is happening, just I want you to think about this so that you will be aware of what is happening and you will learn something out of it, right? Learning is important. So, yes, I want you to think about it. So, and I want you to come up with a solution, then look for the solution in the video. I'm also going to leave the solution in the description. You also get the solution after you completed the task. So no need to worry about that. Okay. So like this is the architecture. So here we have internet, here we have root 53 hosted zone, here we have ELB application load balancer. So it basically balances the load, right, in the application, the traffic and everything. Here we have like a code pipeline, like the cost depends per pipeline. So this is usually used to automate the code automate and deploy. You automate the code builds and also deploy it. So here we have like a code deployment. Here we have EC2 instance 1, EC2 instance 2, EC2 instance 1, instance 2. So here we have like a S3 bucket for backups. So this is the bucket we are using for backups. And here we have like RDS PostgreSQL server and standby RDS PostgreSQL server. So basically, what we are doing is we are using it for load balancing, and here we are just trying to do the database replication here. So this is the availability zone 1, availability zone 2. So this I think this is used to reduce the crashes, okay? And also this is also ELB, application load balancer, is also used to route the crashes of the server, and also this backup is really used to, really is helpful. Okay, so now I want you to pause the video and just go through it and just come up with a solution. Okay, if you don't get it, that's fine, but at least try. So now I'm going to discuss the solution with you guys. Okay, so the solution here, which is written by me, is, I hope this email, this is all everything about the introduction. So here I just written the architecture overview. Architecture overview. So this consists of the following components. So these are the components. So I'm just writing Route 53. This is a DNS service, and the purpose. I'm writing the purpose why we are using it. It directs the traffic to the application using a hosted zone. So why chosen is it provides high available and scalable DNS services. So basically, highly available and scalable DNS services with simple routing policies. Okay, no need to do the complex routing policies. It is so simple, and easy. What is DNS? Is we already uh, studied about this. I already explained about this. DNS is domain name system, which is basically changing the name that is in the changing the link or address which is in a human readable form to in machine readable form, like an IP address. So next one is cost considerations is built based on number of DNS queries and health checks performed. So it is also used to check the health. Okay. So next we are using Elastic Bad Load Balancer. So it distributes the incoming traffics among multiple EC2 instances. So here we took like two EC2 instances, right? So to these like different EC2 instances. So to this two instances, it is basically used to distribute the traffic evenly. Okay. And next we have like why chosen is ensures application availability and resilience by automatically balancing the load. And cost considerations are costs are based on number of load balancer capacity units and all these active connections. So next, Elastic Beanstalk with auto scaling EC2 group. So this purpose is delays and manages the application with minimal manual intervention. So basically, it just manages the application. Okay, manual intervention is reduced. So manual intervention is nothing but when we have to do everything by ourselves is manual intervention. So if we automate it, if we make the machine do it everything on its own, it's automatic thing, right? So why it is chosen, it simplifies the deployment by allowing the application to scale based on traffic demands. So based on the demands, the application becomes flexible. We no need to do anything about it. So the manuality decreases, is reduced highly. So the cost considerations here are costs are primarily for the underlying EC2 instances. So it is for EC2 instances based on the instance type, running hours, and everything. So next we have RDS PostgreSQL. So this is the primary and standby. So this is basically provides a managed relational database with automated failover and backups. So it has like a backup, it has like a automated failover. So when it is failed, I think it can get itself back up. It has this S3 bucket which is a backup. So yes, this is what is mentioned here. And also offers durable and cost-effective savings for backup, and cost considerations are costs vary with volume of data stored, request, and data retrieval operations. So cost varies. So core pipeline, we know this automate core deployment process, facilitates continuous integration and deployment, minimizing the manual effort. Again, we no need to put the effort. It automates everything. So build based on pipeline executions associated with AWS resource usage. So next cost calculation is given here. So it's basically the monthly cost will depend on several factors. So this basically the cost given here for each thing, like computing the EC2, next database RDS, network traffic, storage S3, and the pipeline. So these are mentioned here. So next architectural decision, relationally. I don't know why I put E there. It's weird. But we choose Elastic Beanstalk as the foundation of the architecture due to its built-in scaling, deployment automation, and scalability with customers, Python application, while alternate like Lambda. These two were considered. Beanstalk is more flexible and more simple for this application without operational complexity or serverless solutions. So EC2 instances are utilized to handle traffic surges with auto scaling, ensuring efficient cost management. So this Elastic Beanstalk is used to manage all these EC2 instances. Okay, this server. So this architecture strides a balance between performance and cost, allowing for scalability while keeping the expenditure aligned with application growth. Okay, so that's it, guys. This is what I've written. Okay, so yeah, this is the mail I've written. I will just leave it for you guys in the description if you want the answer. But I want you to learn something out of it. I want you to think. Okay, so next we have like example answer. So the answer is given here. So if you want, you can also check this out. And that is it. That is it. The task is completed after this. So you get into the finish line and you're done with the task and you will get the certification few minutes after you did it. Okay, so that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for watching and meet you in the next one. Bye.